Assalamu alaikum and good morning, and welcome you all guys in the lecture of the series of the biostates. In the today lecture we will go to test the difference between the two sample mean. Let me clear your concept about the difference of the two sample mean through a few examples. Suppose a researcher wants to conduct the study in the form of the randomized controlled trial, and he wants to see the effectiveness between the two drugs of the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory group. So, for this research project, for this research study, he selected the 100 patient from a tertiary care hospital, and then he divided the 100 patient in the two group randomly. The one group which is called the treatment group and the second called is the control group. He gave the new drugs of the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory group to the treatment group, and he gave the old drug of the non-steroidal group to the control group. And after a defined period of the duration, he see the result of the effectiveness between the new drugs and the old drug, which drug is more effective in relieving the pain in the patient. So, for this study, to see the difference between the two sample mean, if the sample size is less than 30, then we will go to use the t-test. If the sample size is more than 30 or 30 and the sigma is unknown, then we will go to use the z-test. If we see the variable among the two groups, either it is equal or it is not equal, then we will go to use the f-test. So, to test the difference between the two sample mean, we have some assumption for it. Okay, the assumption number one: the samples which were randomly selected from the population, they must be independent. Okay, with each other. The first assumption to see the difference between the two sample mean, that the samples which is selected, the two sample which is selected from the population, they must be independent with each other. They should not be dependent on each other. They should not be effect on each other. Okay. And their second one, there is no relationship between each. There should be no relationship between the subjects of each sample. Okay, why it should be? Definitely, a researcher who wants to conduct the study and the randomized controlled trial, the treatment group, he wants to the treatment group he gave the new drugs, and on the control group he wants to give the old drugs. So in this study design, they must be blinded. The single blind, double blind and the triple blind. In the blinding, both of the samples, the treatment group and the control group, they don't know which type of the drug they are taking. Either they are taking the new one, either they are taking on the old one. Both of the treatment group and the control group, they don't know about the drugs, information about the drugs, and they should not be crossover from the treatment group to the control group, from control group to the treatment group. So if we keep the check and balance in the single blind, double blind and the blocking and the randomization, so the effectiveness of the both drugs we can measure in the proper way. And the third one, the population from which the sample from the population from which the samples are selected, okay, the population and the sample should be normally distributed, okay, it should be normally distributed. And the variation should be measured through the standard deviation. The variation has been through the variation should be measured through the standard deviation, okay. And if the sample size, okay, sample size is 30 or more than 30, then we will go to use the Z test, okay. If the sample size is the less than 30, then we will go to use the T test, okay. Okay, let's learn more how you will go to write down the hypothesis testing in the form of the hypothesis statement. Let me share one example with you. A educationist researcher wishes to determine whether there is a difference in the average age of the nursing students who are enrolled in the nursing program at a community college and those who are enrolled in the nursing program at the university level. So he wants to see the average age of the students who are nursing students who are enrolled in the community nursing college and those who are enrolled in the university level. Okay, in this case the researcher is not the educationist researcher is not interested in the average age of the all beginning nursing students. Instead, he is interested in comparing the mean of the two groups. Okay, his research question is, does the mean age of the nursing students who enrolled at the university? So for this, does what is the research question? Research question is, does the mean age of nursing students who enrolled at a university. Okay. So how you will go to write the hypothesis statement for it? Okay. So definitely the same, to test the difference between the two sample mean, we will go to prove our hypothesis by same using the 5 steps. So you know very well, which is I discussed you in the hypothesis testing lectures, that the first step is the hypothesis statement. Okay, hypothesis statement means to prove this hypothesis, how you will go to write down in the hypothesis statement. Okay, in the statistical form. Okay, right. Now null hypothesis. Null hypothesis it says mu1 is equal to mu2. Okay, right? And the alternate hypothesis, the mu1 is not equal to mu2. The question is said, does the mean age of the nursing students who enrolled at the university, so the mu1 is equal to mu1. You can write down this statement of the hypothesis statement in another form. Okay, mu null hypothesis mu naught or h naught mu1 minus mu2 is equal to 0, and h alternate hypothesis mu1 minus mu2 is not is equal to 0. Both are right. If you write down the hypothesis statement in this way or in this way, both are all right. Okay, because if you will go to minus the mu1 from the mu2, 0 from the 0, that result will become up a 0. So that's why we are writing over here is 0. Okay, so the mu1 is the mean age of the beginning nursing students at the community college, and mu2 is the mean age of the all beginning nursing students at the university level. The mu1 is the mean age at the beginning, mean age of the nursing students at the beginning of the which are enrolled in the community college, and mu2 is the mean age of the nursing students which are enrolled at the university level, because the researcher wants to see the difference between the mean age of the nursing student which are enrolled in the community college or they are enrolled at the university level. Okay. So to solve this, to solve the difference between the two sample mean, we have the formula for that. Okay, z is equal to x1 bar minus x2 bar, okay, minus mu1 minus mu2, okay. Minus x1 is the sample mean of the one sample, and we will go to minus the x mean of the sample 2 from the mean sample of the 1, and then the sample mean of the population of the 1 and sample mean of the population 2. It is the first one is a 0, the second one is 0. If we will go to minus the 0 from the 0, it will come up the 0 result. Okay, then we will go to divide it with the square root of the sigma 1 square divided by n1, and then we will go to divide the sigma 2 square by the n2. Okay, sigma 1 square divided by the sample size of the sample 1. The standard deviation of the second sample we will go to divide with the sample size of the second group. Okay. Now we will go to how we will go to write down the simple different type of the hypothesis. Suppose mu naught is equal to mu1, is less than and equal to mu2. So what would be the alternate hypothesis? The alternate hypothesis mu1 is greater than mu2. Okay. If someone is claimed that the mean age of the students which are enrolled in the community college and the mean age of the nursing student which are enrolled in the community college is less than and equal to the mean age of the of nursing student which are enrolled in the university level. So the alternate hypothesis, the researcher is claimed no, the mean age of the nursing students which are enrolled in the community college is greater than the mean age of the students which are enrolled at the university level. Okay. Now the second hypothesis, if the second hypothesis if it's come in the questions, okay, mu naught or h naught mu 1, okay, is greater and equal to mu 2. In the what's this statement says? This statement says that the mean age of the students which are enrolled in the community college is greater than and equal to mean age of the nursing student which are enrolled in the university level. But the researcher claim that the mu 1 is less than mu 2. Here the researcher is claim that the mean age of the nursing students which are enrolled in the community college is less than the mean age which are enrolled at the university level. Okay, right. So the same statement of this hypothesis statement you can write down in this way. Okay, here we also write down, okay, h naught is equal to mu 1, okay, mu 1 is less than and equal to mu 2. Clear? Mu h naught is equal to mu, no, it's write down in this way, mu 1 minus mu 2 is less than and equal to 0. Then alternate hypothesis we will write down mu 1 minus mu 2 is greater than 0. So the another way to write down the hypothesis statement for this hypothesis, h naught, okay, we will go to write down h naught mu 1 minus mu 2, okay, what it says in the null hypothesis is a greater and equal to 0. The alternate hypothesis will be mu 1 minus mu 2 is less than 0, okay. So these all the form to write down the hypothesis statement. If the hypothesis statement comes up, these two hypotheses is define the hypothesis which are in the one tail. Either it is this hypothesis, see the alternate hypothesis which is I told you earlier, I taught you earlier in the previous lecture of the hypothesis statement. Just to see the alternate hypothesis. In the alternate hypothesis, the mu 1 is greater than mu 2. So it is defined, this is the one tail hypothesis, okay, and it is a one tail hypothesis and it is the right side hypothesis, and it is also called, the third name for it is called the positive tail hypothesis. Now in the second example, see in the second example, in the alternate hypothesis mu 1 is less than mu 2. So it is explaining or elaborating that this alternate hypothesis is one tail and it is a left side tail and it is a negative tail. Okay, these are the three names: the negative tail, one sided tail and left side tail. Okay, but here see in the alternate hypothesis mu 1 is not equal to mu 2. So it means it is a non-directional hypothesis. It is a two-side tail, okay, left side tail and the right side tail, and it is a two-side tail, right side tail and left side tail. It is a non-directional hypothesis, okay. Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Let me clear to concept about the difference of the two sample mean. we will go to learn in detail through solve the numerical or question in the stepwise through using the 5 steps of the hypothesis testing. Let me read the a question or numerical which is written over here. A survey found that the average hotel room rates, okay, the average hotel room rate in Islamabad is $88.42 and the average room in the Karachi is $80.61 US. Assume that the data were obtained from the 2 samples of 50 hotels, each 50 from the Karachi and 50 from the Islamabad they selected, and the standard deviation were found 5.62 US for the Islamabad and 4.83 US of the standard deviation is found for the Karachi respectively. So at the alpha 0.05 means 95%, can it be calculated there is a significant difference in the rates? So now we will go, before we will go to use the 5 step to solve this question, we will go to draw the data from it, okay. To draw the data, it will be very easier to put the value in the formula, okay. Now what we have the need in the formula, one is the x bar of the sample mean of the one sample and the sample mean of the second one, and we will go to S1, okay, standard deviation of the sample 1 and standard deviation of the sample 2, okay, and then we will go to N1 and N2, the sample size of the N1 and sample size of the second sample, okay. Now let's to go, what is the mean of the Islamabad room rate? The mean the average room rate in the Islamabad is 88.42 US dollar, and the average room rate in the Karachi is 80.61 US dollar. So the standard deviation for the Islamabad room rate, average room rate is 5.62 US dollar, and the standard deviation for the average room rate of the Karachi is 4.83 US dollar. Now what is the sample size? They selected the 50 hotels from the each city, from the Islamabad and from the Karachi. So the sample size of the N1 is 50 and the sample size for the N2 is again is the 50. Now we will go to solve it by using the 5 steps, okay. Now as we learned in step number 1, we will go to write down the hypothesis statement. We will go to write down the hypothesis statement in the statistical form, okay, right. So now let's see at the end of the claim of the researcher. What's the claim? At alpha 0.0, can it be concluded that there is a significant difference in the rate, okay. So what will be the H naught is equal to mu1, okay, mu1 is equal to mu2, okay, but we say alternate hypothesis the mu1 is not equal to mu2. What is the research question at alpha 0.01, can it be concluded that there is a significant difference in the rate? So means the rate between the hotel rates, the mean the average hotel rates of the Islamabad and the Karachi, they have the different, okay, they are not the similar. So we will go to prove it. Okay, now we will go to use the step number 2. In step number 2 we will go to write down the level of the significance. Okay, what is the level of the significance? Alpha 0.05. Alpha 0.05. So as I told you earlier, the alternate hypothesis is the two tail. Okay, it's the two tail. Now what we will go? We will go to divide the 0.05. It will become up with the 0.25. 0.025 will be on the right side, the critical value on the right side, and the critical value on the left side is on the minus side. So we will go on the Z table, then we will see 0.025 or alpha, the value is plus minus 1.96. Okay, plus minus of the 1.9. Why is it plus minus? Because the alternate hypothesis is the two tail, right? Now in the step number 3, and step number 3 we will use the formula test statics. Okay, test statics means we will solve this whole question by a formula. What was the formula? Now see the sample size. The sample size is more than 30, so we will go to use the Z test. Z x1 bar minus x2 bar minus mu1 minus mu2. Okay, then we will go to divide square root of the s1 square divided by n1 plus s2 square divided by n2. So we already draw the data from the question. You should keep in mind, before to solve the question of the hypothesis statement, you should draw the data which is required to put in the formula. Okay, now Z is equal to, what is the x1? X1 bar means sample mean of the sample 1 is $88.42. Okay, we will go to minus the sample mean of the one sample from the sample mean of the sample 2, 80.61. Okay, minus what is the mu1? 0 minus 0 is equal to 0. Okay, now we will go to divide it by the square root of the, what is the S1? S1 is the 5.62 square, okay, divided by, what is the N1 sample size is 50. Okay, then we will go to plus it. What is the standard deviation of the second sample mean? 4.83 whole square divided by 50. Okay, right? Now further, so when we minus the 80.61 from the 88.42, it will come up with the result of the 7.81. Okay, now the second one, when we square the 5.62, we will multiply with the 5.62, it will come up with the 31.58 divided by 50. Okay, now we will go to square root of the 4.83 multiply by 4.83, it will come up with the 23.33 divided by 50. Okay, so now 7 point further we will proceed 7.81. Now we will go to divide the 31.58 by the 50. It will come up with the result of square root of the 0.6, around 0.6316. Okay. Then we will go to divide the 23.33 with the 50. It will come up with the result of 0.4666. Okay. Now again proceed. 7.81, we will come up over here. 7.181. Okay. Then we will go to add up. We will add up 0.6316 with the 0.4666. It will come up with the around 1.0982. Okay. Now we will remove the square root. 7.81, we will draw the square root of the 1.0982. It will come up with the 1.05. Now we will go to divide the 7.81 with the 1.05. The answer will become up 7.44. Now the 7.44 is the Z calculus value. This one. Okay. Okay, let me Z. Okay. Now this one 7.4444 is the Z calculus value. Okay. Now we will go towards the step number 4 and 5. In step number 4, what is the step number 4? Rejection decision. Okay, we will take the rejection decision. As I told you earlier, just to take the rejection decision, we should always draw the Bell diagram. Okay. So in the Bell diagram, Z tabulated value for the alpha of the 0.05 of the two tail, the value was the critical value 1.96 plus side minus 1.96. So it is the critical region. Okay. Now we calculated the Z calculated value, which is come up 7.44. So where it will be fall? Definitely it will fall in the rejection area. 7.44. 7.44, which is the Z calculus value, which is fall in the rejection area. So as we learned, the Z calculus is greater than Z tabulated value. So the Z calculus value, we come up with the 7.44, which is greater than Z tabulated value. The Z tabulated value is 1.96. So it falls in the rejection area. Rejection are in the critical region area. When the Z calculus or the T calculus or the chi-square calculus or the F test calculus fall in the rejection area, so we reject the null hypothesis. Okay, we reject the null hypothesis. Now on the basis of the step number 4 in the rejection decision, so we reject the null hypothesis. On the basis of the to reject the null hypothesis, we will go to write down the step number 5. What is the step number 5? The step number 5 is says hypothesis, result statement or you can say result interpretation. Okay, in the result interpretation, then we say definitely we reject the null hypothesis. So we can say there is enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis, or to reject the claim that, what is the claim? We claim that the mean average, the rates of the average rates of both the hotels of the Islamabad and Karachi are different. So there is enough evidence to reject the claims, or to reject the null hypothesis that the mean average rate of the both hotels, the both hotels, average rates of the hotels Islamabad, or the mean average rates of the hotels in Islamabad and Karachi are different. Here you can say is not equal. The mean average rates of the hotels of the Islamabad and Karachi are not equal, are different, okay, are not the same. Okay, right. So in the today lecture we learned how you will go to test the difference between the two sample mean, and we learned the assumption for the to test the difference between the two sample mean. The first assumption is the sample size which is we selected from the population, they are the independent on each other. There is no relationship should be found between the subject of the each sample size. Okay, and the third assumption is the population from which the sample size are selected, they should be normally distributed, and the variation has been measured by the standard deviation. Okay, and if the sample size is more than 30 or more than 30, then we will go to use the Z test. If the sample size is less than 30, then we will go to use the T test to prove the hypothesis. I hope in the today lecture it's a clear your concept about the difference of the two sample mean. In the last, I request you all to watch my video lecture of the biostat. It will enhance your knowledge and grip on the biostats subjects. And the last, I request you all once again that subscribe my YouTube channel, and also communicate your friends, classmates and your students to subscribe my YouTube channel. And the last, press the bell button. By pressing the bell button, pressing the bell icon, you will get my new lecture as soon as I upload on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much.